Most American gardeners look at their calendar in July and think the planting season is over. They walk past empty beds, thinking they missed their window, and start spending money at the grocery store. That assumption is costing them hundreds of dollars between now and the first frost. July is not the end of the season. For 5 specific vegetables, it is actually the perfect time to get seeds in the ground. The soil is warm, germination happens fast, and the harvest hits in September and October, right when grocery store prices for fresh produce are climbing, and your garden should be feeding you. Crop number 4 on this list is one that most gardeners dismiss because they think it is purely a southern crop. The financial return from a July planting of that crop will change how you think about your late summer garden permanently. Drop your state and your USDA zone in the comments now. Your zone changes everything about the timing and variety advice I am giving you today. Let's get into it. Vegetable 1. Cucumbers. Most gardeners think of cucumbers as a spring crop. They are not. They are a warm soil crop, and July soil across most of the United States is exactly what cucumber seeds want. Here is something the garden center never tells you. A cucumber seed direct sown into warm July soil frequently outperforms a transplant that went in during a cool May. May transplants sit stressed in cold soil for weeks. A July seed dropped into 80-degree soil germinates in 3 to 7 days and starts growing immediately with no transplant shock and no stress period. The varieties that perform best from July direct sowing. Marketmore 76 is the standard slicing cucumber. Disease-resistant, matures in 60 days, and reliable across zones 4 through 11. County Fair was specifically bred for resistance to bacterial wilt, which is the disease that kills cucumber plants in late summer across zones 5 through 8. If cucumber beetles have destroyed your plants in previous seasons, County Fair is the variety that changes that outcome. For pickling, Calypso produces compact plants with fast fruit set in 60 days. For burpless varieties your family will actually eat raw, Diva is smooth-skinned, nearly seedless, and produces reliably from July sowing. The financial math on cucumbers is one of the clearest cases for home growing available. Organic cucumbers at grocery stores are running $2 to $4 each right now. A single cucumber vine on a trellis produces 20 to 30 cucumbers across its harvest window. That is $40 to $120 of produce from one vine. Plant 4 vines and you are looking at $200 to $400 of cucumbers from 10 linear feet of trellis space. Grow cucumbers vertically on a trellis. This is not optional. Vertical growth improves air circulation and dramatically reduces powdery mildew and downy mildew, the 2 fungal diseases that kill cucumber plants in August and September. A simple 6-foot cattle panel section or wire fence works perfectly. Zones 3 through 5. Get seeds in the ground the first week of July without delay. Days to harvest for most varieties is 60 days, placing your harvest in early September before first frost. Zones 6 through 8, you have flexibility through mid-July. Zones 9 through 11, cucumbers thrive in July heat and produce through fall and into winter. If this is changing how you think about your July garden, hit that subscribe button. I share specific variety recommendations and timing information like this every single week. Vegetable 2. Bush beans. Beans do not want to be started indoors and transplanted. They want warm soil, and they want to be placed directly where they are going to grow. July gives them exactly that. Provider is the first variety I recommend to anyone for July sowing. It germinates in poor soil, tolerates heat, resists common bean diseases, and produces heavily 50 to 55 days after sowing. In most zones, a first week of July planting puts fresh beans on your table by late August. Blue Lake 274 is a classic that is widely available and consistently productive. Contender was bred specifically for heat tolerance and performs in southern gardens where July temperatures regularly push above 90 degrees. A 10-foot row of bush beans produces 8 to 12 pounds of fresh beans across the harvest window. Fresh beans at grocery stores are running $2 to $3 per pound right now. That is $24 to $36 of produce from a strip of garden smaller than a standard sofa. Succession plant a second row 3 weeks after the first, and you extend your harvest from one compressed flush into a continuous supply through September. Do not fertilize beans with nitrogen. Beans fix their own nitrogen from the air through root bacteria. Adding nitrogen fertilizer suppresses that natural process and produces all leaves and almost no pods. Zones 3 through 6. Plant the first 2 weeks of July for a September harvest before frost. Zones 7 through 9, you have until the 3rd week of July. Zones 10 and 11, beans planted in July produce through fall without frost pressure. Vegetable 3, zucchini and summer squash. A zucchini seed direct sown into July soil will germinate in 3 to 7 days and produce harvestable fruit in 45 to 50 days. That puts fresh zucchini on your table in mid to late August from a seed planted right now. Black Beauty is the reliable standard that performs across every zone from 3 to 10. Costata Romanesco is an Italian heirloom with dense, nutty flavor that is genuinely superior to anything available at a grocery store. Early Prolific Straight Neck is the fastest producing variety for warm soil July sowing. One healthy zucchini plant in peak production gives you 3 to 5 pounds of squash per week across a harvest window of 6 to 8 weeks. At $2 to $4 per pound organic, one plant generates $40 to $160 of produce. Plant 3 plants from a seed packet that costs $3, and the return is obvious. Check plants every single day once they start producing. A zucchini 4 inches long today will be an unwieldy club by tomorrow morning. Harvest small and harvest often. That discipline is the difference between 8 weeks of continuous production and a plant that peaks early and shuts down. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Next week I am covering the one soil amendment that doubles zucchini production in July planted gardens without adding any fertilizer. Zones 3 through 5 plant the first week of July. Zones 6 through 9 you have through mid-July. Zones 9 through 11, July planting is ideal timing for fall production. Vegetable 4, okra. This is the crop I mentioned at the start, the one most gardeners outside the South dismiss without ever running the financial numbers. Okra is a true hot weather crop that refuses to perform in cold soil. Plant it too early in spring, and it sits, sulks, and rots. Plant it in July when the soil is warm and the nights stay above 60 degrees and it launches. Germination in 5 to 7 days. Pods ready to harvest in 50 to 60 days from direct sowing. Clemson spineless is the standard recommendation. Spineless means harvesting does not leave your arms covered in the fine prickles that cover other varieties. It matures in 55 days and performs from Zone 5 through Zone 10. Burgundy is a red-potted variety that matures in just 49 days, making it the fastest maturing common okra variety available. Baby Bubba hybrid grows only 3 to 4 feet tall compared to the 6 to 8 feet of standard varieties and produces prolifically in Zones 6 through 10. Here is the financial calculation that changes how most gardeners think about okra. Fresh okra runs $3 to $5 per pound at most grocery stores and farmers markets across the country. A single established okra plant produces a pound or more of pods per week at peak production. In Zones 7 through 10, where okra produces from July through October or even November, that is 16 or more weeks of production. At $3 per pound per week, one plant is worth nearly $50 across a full season. Plant 6 plants in 12 to 16 linear feet of garden space, and you are looking at $300 or more in equivalent grocery store value from one section of your garden. Before planting okra in July, soak the seeds in warm water for 8 to 12 hours the night before. Okra seeds have extremely hard seed coats. Soaking reduces germination time from 10 to 14 days down to 5 to 7 days in warm July soil. 30 seconds of preparation produces significantly faster and more uniform germination. Harvest pods at 3 to 4 inches only. A pod that reaches 5, 6, or 7 inches becomes tough and fibrous, and essentially inedible. Harvesting at the right size also signals the plant to keep producing. A pod allowed to fully mature on the plant triggers the plant to slow production significantly. Check your okra every single day during peak production. In July and August heat, pods go from perfectly sized to overgrown in less than 48 hours. Zones 5 and 6 plant the first week of July for a September and October harvest before frost. Zones 7 through 10, July planting is ideal, and production extends through fall. Zones 3 and 4, okra is a stretch in July due to the short remaining season. Focus on the other 4 crops on this list. If the okra numbers just changed how you think about your late summer garden, subscribe. Vegetable 5. Turnips. Turnips are the most underestimated crop on this entire list, and that underestimation is costing American gardeners a 2-harvest crop every single season. Here is why turnips belong on a July planting list that also includes heat-loving crops like okra and cucumbers. Turnips are a cool season root crop, but they are planted in July specifically to mature during the cooler temperatures of September and October. The heat of July and August is used for establishment and early growth. The cooling temperatures of fall are what trigger sugar development in the root. A turnip harvested in September from a July planting is sweeter, more tender, and more complex in flavor than any turnip harvested in summer heat. And just like beets, turnips give you 2 crops from 1 planting. The greens emerge first and are edible, nutritious, and delicious cooked or eaten raw in salads. The roots follow. 1 row of turnips gives you greens for weeks and roots at the harvest date. Purple top white globe is the classic American turnip. It matures in 55 days and has been grown in American gardens continuously since the 18th century. Colonists in Virginia and Pennsylvania grew purple top turnips through fall and winter as a primary food crop before refrigeration made year-round grocery access possible. That history is not nostalgia. It is a track record of 200 years of reliable production in American soil and climate. Hakare is a Japanese salad turnip that matures in just 38 days, producing smooth white roots with sweet, mild flavor that converts turnip skeptics on the first bite. If your family claims they do not like turnips, Hakare is the variety that changes that conversation. Fresh organic turnips run $2 to $3 per bunch at grocery stores and farmers markets. A 10-foot row produces 30 to 40 roots at harvest, which translates to 10 to 14 bunches or $30 to $42 in equivalent value. Add the value of the greens harvested earlier, and the total return from that 10-foot row represents significant grocery savings from a 49-cent seed packet. Sow seeds ½ an inch deep every 2 inches in the row. Thin to 4 inches between plants after germination. Yes, you will pull up seedlings that look perfectly healthy. Do it anyway. Crowded turnips produce small, deformed roots. The thinnings are edible greens and nothing is wasted. Zones 3 through 6. Plant from the 1st of July through the 3rd week of July for a September and October harvest. Zone 7 and 8 you have through late July. Zones 9 and 10. Turnips are better suited to fall and winter planting rather than July. Focus your July garden on the heat-loving crops in the first 4 entries on this list. 5 vegetables. All direct sown. All belonging in July soil right now. Cucumbers germinate in 3 to 7 days in warm soil and reach harvest in 60 days. Bush beans germinate in 5 to 7 days and produce pods in 50 to 55 days. Zucchini germinates in 3 to 7 days and produces harvestable fruit in 45 to 50 days. Okra germinates in 5 to 7 days with soaking and produces pods in 49 to 60 days. Turnips germinate in 3 to 5 days and mature in 38 to 55 days depending on variety. Pick 3 of these 5 that match your zone, your space, and what your household actually eats. Get seeds in the ground this week, not next week. This week. Every day you wait in July shortens your harvest window by exactly 1 day. Which 3 are you planting? Drop them in the comments along with your zone. Tell me if you have ever grown any of these as a July planting before. I read every single comment, and the zone information this community shares helps every other gardener watching figure out their own timing. This is Plantoria Gardening. Traditional techniques, real results, no hype. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.